Yes, yes.
Okay.
As Maslow studied the successful people,
Yeah.
Carl
Yeah.
Rogers studied the not so successful people.
Perfect. Excellent. Good understanding. Thank you, ma'am. And then Abraham Maslow's self-actualization theory will see. Let us focus on his study, how he studied the people. He studied around 20 people, historical persons, and came to at biological study, their biographies and interactions, interviews, collected the details in the press and other resources, and analyzed how come these people become more successful in their life, achieved their goals, set goals, what are their characteristics, and will that be useful for others. He studied that, and while studying the psychology, he came across literature of some people who influenced him more. We all know Alfred Adler, who studied his individual theory. What he says is, there is an ideal self created by creative self. This ideal self, in order to fix a certain ideals, images, friction, he says it, frictional ideation. And in order to achieve them, this creative self creates certain styles of the life or means to achieve it for the realization of their potentials. He called it as striving for superiority. Subsequently, he changed that to striving for perfection. And he says the individual's good or achievement lies not only in his efforts, but also on the support of the society. So the integration of both ideal individual as well as social interests and achieving the goals are ideal for any person. That is the good personality or healthy person. Otherwise, we will add psychopathy. At the time, they used to focus more on the neurosis, the word neurosis. Here, he got that humanistic perspective from Adler. Henry Murray, most of us, all of us know, the unconscious mind is studied through the projective techniques. Initially, the Rorschach ink block test, RIBT acronym, is used, and then Murray developed TAT, thematic person test. A family pictures relationships with male, female, children, and some pictures. Depending on that, we can analyze where he got stuck, where obstructions are there. For what the obstructions are? Obstructions are in the path of achieving certain needs. The need theory of Henry Murray considered to be very excellent of all the need theories. So he got influenced by a need theory of Henry Murray. Humanism from Adler and necessity of needs fulfillment for self-actualization from Henry. Then Kurt Goldstein is the person who coined initially, a neurologist, a physician, coined the word self-actualization. This concept was highly important for both Abraham Maslow as well as Carl Rogers, who gave excellent theories for humanistic perspective of personality development. And then having influenced by these important persons, he studied the successful people or who considered to be self-actualized people by studying the ontology. For any research, there are three elements, four elements are there. One is ontology, second one is epistemology, third one axiology, fourth one is methodology in a philosophical and social sciences. Ontology talks about the reality, what is that existing now, that is the knowledge, that gives the knowledge. But we have to study how this world, how it came into being, how it is becoming, how human being existing, how he is becoming or realizing his goals and going forward, or flourishing or striving or dooming or failing. That becoming is how is happening in the study of ontology. Then the knowing by the knower, what is known is called as knowledge, that is epistemology, looks like philosophical. Then comes axiology, talks about the ethics and the values. Ethics come from environment, society, whereas morals are formed from individual thinking and the experience. That is the difference between morals and the ethics. Then how to study, how to understand, how to frame your thought process in analyzing the concepts, what you experienced is called as the methodology. His focus is on the ontology. I discussed earlier, being and becoming. How he came into the existence, every point of time there is an existence and there is change and the progress. The path of progress is taking in his life from state to state, and where it is leading, ending, or the process, what is the commonality in those stages, end states of each stage, that is studied. Then for that, he studied the biographies, and then he's having the influence of these four people, contributed his theory of self-actualization or the need theory. Now, he has certain postulate about the human nature and the experience, and having understood from his own perspective of humanism, he went against the behavioralism and the psychoanalysis. He says that psychoanalysis treats human beings as the animals. There is no reason, will, free will is not there, and freedom of choice is not there, not given by Freud and psychoanalysts. Second one is behavioralism is a mechanistic routine process, stimulus, reaction, stimulus, reaction, stimulus, reaction, in between incentives, rewards, punishments. It is not going beyond that of not incorporating the Gestalt principles, not incorporating the cognitive principles. And he went against behavioralism, so I don't want to study from that perspective. So these people, these means the first wave psychoanalytical and the second wave behavioralist studied the failures of human beings, problems of human being, the psychological problems, diseases, disorders, distresses. No, we have to focus on the healthy human beings more than the disease. This is his conclusion. Then he studied the positive side of the human being, and humanistic philosophy. We all know psychology includes every person inborn need for dignity, irrespective of gender, caste, creed, religion. Human dignity is wanted, and one can aspire it, others are to give it in the humanism. This is where the tolerance comes. This is where the secularism comes. This is where the democracy comes. Without this concept, there is no individual human relationships on the sound, healthy grounds. Second one is, these are every human being having his own choice. Give the options, let him select. Adult will have his rationality. Adult will have free choice. Adult will take responsibility. So other things follows. This is what is the humanistic principles. And also everybody wants to grow himself, not only grow himself, but also see growth of the society. This is the core, this is the core of the humanism. Many people nowadays talk without having no knowledge of the dignity aspect, free will aspect, right? So this is the foundation for even democracy. Now coming to epistemology, I already discussed. Just to have a look into this for your understanding. So ontology always think about the present moment. What is there? What are the forces that are existing? What are the objects to simulate existing? They are not much considered about the future, but if they consider being and becoming later. Becoming is about the future. The transformation takes place from one state to the other state. We have already discussed, just I will buy. In our psychology, how this has evolved. If you see this objectivism to subjectivism, there is a truth, knowledge, and belief in epistemology, which says about knowledge, how that has become progress in our psychology, humanism, the behavioralism, objectivism, they observe from outside. There is no subjectivity there. Then came the cognitive theories. What are there inside the human being? Scientifically, they study. Inside is the subjective scientific study is happening. Slowly it became interactional theories, how the one person interact with others, social phenomena is taking place. Here comes the people like the schema. Who gave the schema theory of Piaget, cognitive development, Brunner, concept development in the children, child development, interactional theory, and Vygotsky, interactional theory. These three people are called as constructivists. So people develop their own mind, their own thought process, their own inductive process, deductive process, abstract thinking. This is then came the sex, gender orientation, andrology, and other things come. That's how subjectivism. This is how the progress has taken place in terms of knowledge in psychology perspective. Knowledge is gained through learning theories. This is the picture. Next comes the behavioral Maslow's assumptions about the human being. People behave, he always sees in the positive side, please. He already, Henry Murray's influence, he thought that there are certain needs to be fulfilled, achieved, or achievement of them in a progressive manner is nothing but self-actualization with the help of their utilizing their potential. If not achieved at each stage, it causes problems, fixations, or psychopathy. We will discuss. Each stage on fulfillment, what it gives, on failure of achieving or obtaining or fulfilling their needs, gives what type of problem, health problems, psychological problems we discussed. So please remember, never write that these needs are learned, taught by the parents and the society. He tells that they are inherited, innate, they are like instincts. So he called them, instead of instinct, he called them as instinctoid. Important interview question or UGC net question. Instinctoid are nothing but inherited needs. So every person is motivated by two things: fulfillment of needs. If needs are not fulfilled, these unfulfilled needs also motivate you to in order to achieve them. So two aspects you have to write. Then comes, he say that these needs he classified, made them hierarchical from stronger needs to the weaker needs in a hierarchical form. Stronger needs, lifelong, they will be pressing you, pressors. And as you go up, they will become subservient to the lower needs one way. Even self-actualization is subservient to the basic needs. That's what he says. Individual moves one level to the other level, but many people think that he says that it is only one-way travel from below upwards, but he had given certain conditions, I think six conditions, wherein one regresses to the moves backward to the fall back onto the needs, lower needs, from upper needs to the higher needs to lower needs. Right? That we will see. Needs can be overridden and affected by our learning process, social expectations, and social discipline. So what now, having said that, there are lower needs and upper needs, will come here. These are the lower needs: psychological needs, safety needs, belongingness, and love needs.
Physiological, yeah.
Esteem need, and self-actual. Now, these are called deficiency needs. We feel deficient, lacking it. So when we feel lack, we try to achieve them. That's why with more force. That's why I call these first four as the D needs or deficiency needs. And here, the top one, he called it as the being need, to the becoming need. Being need is D need, becoming need is also actualization, nothing but the actualization. Now we see what are these characteristics of these four and what is the characteristic of the higher. These five are not permanent as per. He not only gave five basic these needs, later he extended three more needs that we will discuss. Now lower need, deficiency needs necessary for survival. So like oxygen, food, sex, relationship, something, all these needs are greater in strength, always will be pushing, because once they are fulfilled, again need arises. So low, basically the first the need will be always be pushing every day. You have to fulfill this. So they are called physiological need. They arise in the infancy, and the higher belongingness and esteem arise in the adolescence. This is in the infancy, by birth it will be there, and then this will be in the adolescence. They will be in the adulthood. Others will becoming more stronger. In the midlife, self-actualization arises. But it is a process. Please remember that it is a process. There are two forces, where in the childhood, mostly infancy, it is unconscious force. Later, it is our conscious force. Now, B need, the growth need, G need, is not for survival, but it is subservient to the D needs. But this achievement leads to satisfaction, contentment, happiness, also improves our health. If health is improved, life will be long, or longevity of life will be there. Then he says here that require better external circumstances than the lower. This he says higher needs require external circumstances. Yesterday we discussed that the difference between Rogers and Maslow. Rogers says that from infancy to the becoming fully functioning person, every place, including these lower needs, we need external support or circumstances, supporting conditions. This is the difference between, another difference between these two. Now coming to this, if you see these 5 needs, here 5 needs are there. Let me make it disappear. Hide the video panel. Hide. Right now it is fully. Now if you see it, Maslow's hierarchy of basics in 1943. So later he discussed it in the 1960s. We'll see. Now coming to here, basic needs, physiological needs like food, water, warmth, and rest. If these are not there, health is. If they are there, fulfillment is there. If they are not there, basic anxiety will be there. Basic means initial anxiety in the life, right? Here, these basics needs are not fulfilled. It leads to the anxiety. So in this process, we move one after other. Physiological need to safety needs, then to belongingness and love, and then the esteem need, then to self-actualization. There is hierarchy going on, lower to higher. If higher, more dominant in that need is, and then these are to achieve full humanness. If you achieve this part, self-actualization, you will become full human. Same word, fully functioning person. Here, fully human word is replaced by Rogers as fully functioning person. So this is what we should invariably remember. 1 minute. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Now, here another difference. Full humanness is given by Maslow.
Yes.
Rogers coined this. It is nothing but self-actualization. He coined it a fully functioning person. So regression happens under certain conditions we will discuss, especially under the survival threat and the stressful conditions. Now coming back to the safety need, we know house we need, protection we need, law we need, social acceptance we need. So many neighbors help is required. These type of things are safety needs. So depends on the social order. And then if it is achieved, he will be having the satisfaction and feel secure. If not there, insecurity, and that is a fear and the anxiety prevails. This is the maladjustment side or the pathology side. Belongingness in the society, he wants friendship, he wants intimate relationships, romance, wife, sons and children, and relatives. This is belongingness and love needs. And then if it is not achieved, what is the pathology? Loneliness and the social anxiety. Then once the belongingness is established and love is scattered, then moves to the esteem needs. It includes recognition from others and prizes from others, appreciation from others. When one gets it, when one accomplishes and he achieves something, then that gives the status, that gives the esteem, that means regard. So he classified that is nothing but the worth. He feels that I am worthy person in the society. There are two things in this, lower esteem and higher esteem. Lower esteem related to respect from others, higher esteem from respect from himself for his own acts. He should feel proud of it. So here, Rogers, what he told here is unconditional positive regard. Please remember that word. Unconditional positive regard. From what? For become fully functioning person, one should become what? One should achieve two things. Unconditional positive regard from others, also unconditional positive regard to self. Please remember, same concept he explained in different way. He also says here both are required. Once it is these four are called the D needs are nothing but needs are nothing but motivation. In motivational theory, we come across this need theory. So there will be in this, what is the difference between the higher need and these lower need or the D needs or the being needs or becoming or being need? Difference is that here selflessness is there in the higher need, here selfishness is there. It is for mostly survival or existence. Here it is beyond the existence. Even he says that he, he wants to go transcends from spiritually from individual to the higher level. That we will discuss later. The positive side of it. If not, he will get the pathology. He did not call it as a psychopathology, but metapathology. First thing he will get, if not fulfilled, being and becoming, helping others and giving a satisfaction life, social satisfaction, he will feel guilt. I could have done, I should have helped them, I should have helped these people or supported them. This type, if not done, we will become anxious, but not neurotic. He calls the pathology as metapathology. So now comes, let us see what is the self-actualization. He gave two characteristics of the self-actualization persons. What is that they enjoy more? What is that satisfaction is? Full potential, if it is used, creative with their creative activities, potentialities, and the abilities, skills, he gets to two things. He gets to two things. Number one is plateau experience. Number two is peak experience. Peak experience is emotional. Plateau experience is cognitive. Peak experience is highest happiness once one derives by helping others and enabling others actualizing their actualization. This peak experience, highest happiness, this is emotional content is there. Once emotional content is there, mean it established really based on the relationships. Plateau experience is one, it is peace of mind, what we call meditative mind, right? Serenity and calmness will be there in these people. So these two, emotional happiness and mental or cognitive calmness, these two will be there. If these two are in a person, they are the persons with the theory of X, otherwise Z. Then Y theory says that even though the person who is not having these two is covered under theory Y. So that we will discuss this self-transcendence later. Who achieves this jet theory elements? Actualizes these two. Who actualizes? Highest emotional happiness and the serenity, calmness of the mind. Who achieves? He says that two people achieve. One is those pursuing the self-actualization in the process of self-actualization and the self-transcendence, thinking beyond oneself, going beyond one's spirit. So more likely to experience these peak experiences. Because peak experience basically based on love and rapture, understanding and the joy, which is exclusively emotional. Then self-actualization need maximum realization of one's potential. If all needs except this met, without self-actualization, achieving the D needs don't always give the satisfaction, but negative side of that, without having self-actualization, only having the D need satisfaction, here man or woman person feels restless, frustrated, and discontent. So what is the necessity for the self-actualization? What we require? He says, free of constraint imposed by society. Become free of your, develop free will. Get out of chains of the society which are not required, unhealthy, which are not on the positive side, which separate the people, which suppresses the people, like caste system or racism, whatever discriminations are there. He says, if you have those like these discriminations, intolerances, and the chained by these unhealthy beliefs and the values and the norms, you cannot become a self-actualized person. It looks like very philosophical and spiritual. It is, he pinpointed it, told. Then not to be distracted by the lower needs. So even some distractions are there. Our goal is self-actualization. Ultimate goal is self-actualization. So for this to achieve, even though it says lower need, not distracted, the self-image and the relationship, where it is formed? In the esteem needs form the self-image. This relationship, healthy relationships are formed in the third and the fourth needs. They are very important. Then realistic knowledge of the strength and weaknesses. What is that? It says SWOT analysis, a type of SWOT analysis you should have. Where the SWOT analysis is used in psychology, not in the organizational behavior, in psychology, it is the fundamental test done for to evaluate dash. Anybody self dash. To evaluate self dash. You want to know your dash, self dash, you should undergo strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. Another test is Johari window, right? These two are the tests for what? Self-awareness about you, what you are, what you want to be, what you are, where you are. So next comes the cognitive needs. Here he discussed about the emotional, here relative experience he discussed, it's a peak experience he discussed. Here he is talking about one-way cognitive need. This he developed later between the self-actualization and the esteem need. He brought in the aesthetic aspect and the cognitive aspect. Cognitive aspect, that knowledge is essential in order to have self-realization. What type of knowledge? Realistic knowledge is required. That is what he says for self-actualization. What we need, what are the necessities? Not only these four, free from the chains of the society, negative values, beliefs, norms, not to be distracted, chained by the lower needs, and securing images, self-image, realistic knowledge. For that is a cognitive need he added that. This cognitive need is innate. As you told, all needs are innate for him, according to him. So as this is the cognitive need which differentiates more. These three are there in animals also. So this is the basic, in between these two, cognitive need is the one which differentiates the animal, because decision making is there, understanding is there. Animals don't have much of it. It has a no such a thing. So the speaking and other aspects are unique to us. So knowledge often sought, get risky there, then immediately knowledge requirement is felt. Lack of knowledge produces not only boredom, excitement, it is harmful. It is hindrances in the path of actualization or personality development. Now you see self-actualization, meta needs and meta pathology. This we are going discuss more about this. Self-actualization gives, this also gives certain needs, further needs. Self-actualization needs are separate from these 5 needs. What are those 5 needs? We will discuss now. What are those self-actualization needs? We will discuss now. Here, in-depth dealt with the self-actualization in terms of the experiences, peak and plateau, and the cognitive need, how to get liberated from that, from the impositions, negative impositions, and then what are the meta needs he is telling. These meta needs are essential. There are 15 needs, meta needs are there. So they are also called as meta motivation, to describe the motivational B needs or driving needs, subordinate needs to actual needs of the self-actualization. So here, what are those 15? To be happy in life, to realize self-actualization, one need justice, unity, beauty, simplicity, and goodness, uniqueness, meaningfulness, aliveness, effortfulness, playful, completion, perfection. Finally, trustful, self-sufficiency, and richness. These 15 are the motivations, meta motivations for one to achieve the self-actualization. So we in the path of self-actualization, we try to possess these qualities, fulfill these needs. So if not fulfilled, it leads to metapathology. We discussed here metapathology leads to not having self-actualization, failure, or not fulfilling leads to metapathology. Let us see what is metapathology. Now, metapathology, depression, despair, disgust, alienation, and degree of cynicism. The negative aspects are there. So this is the metapathology. But are these self-actualization of perfect persons? They won't commit mistakes. Are they perfect person others? No, he says they do commit mistakes. They do have imperfections. Because the over kindness of them will be a negative character. And sometimes because of this knowledge and thinking about the others, he will become absent-minded. He also says about the negative elements of problems with them. So he says that what are the characteristics of the person who had self-actualized? He says that his perceptions are real and he accepts himself and others, and then reliant on own experience and judgment than what is being told by others. He does not rely on the here see culture, right? Where he says culture and society, the distance imposed by the society, again reiterating same thing here also. Then he is himself, he is sufficient, he is thought oriented and decision maker. There is a free will and choice in there. He relies on himself. Then he is task centering, he is task oriented, he feels autonomous in executing the functions with respect to the others. Having said that, he is independent by himself. He says that independent by himself and feel comforted in the solitude, but continue to have the compassionate relationship in the society. So always sees new things, new perspective, freshness in the society, and then interpersonal relations will be profound, means very deep, not peripheral. They are non-hostile sense of humor. They won't hurt in their humor. Then they will have peak experience discuss, creative experience discuss, and then our last one is Gemichas. This is nothing but social interest. Refer to the social interest. Who told this one? Which theory? The Adler focused on social interest and community feeling. Okay. Now, so let us see this from two perspectives. How individual goes, how organization implements this. Individual, his hunger is there. For that, he tried hard. And then comes, he needs security. He goes for employment. And then he seek the job here. For the emotional belongingness and satisfaction. And for that, he makes friendship and intimate relationship with others. And then self-esteem, he get the status in the society, in the family, a recognition, appraisal of positive appraisal he will be having. And then it gives the self-fulfillment of utilizing his full potentials. Then in organization, he says that comes straight away comes the basic salary of the basic need is basic salary, and then security comes from pension plan, and then affiliation. He coordinate relations with the co-workers and the management, and self-esteem, job title, assistant manager, general manager, managing director, CEO. These titles give the self-esteem. finally, once this process he achieves because he's fulfilling his needs in a healthy way, the helping others and being helped by others, this is achievement of the goals. So organizational perspective, this is individual perspective. Just one example for your understanding. What are the needs he had given? Two needs. One is cognitive need, we have already discussed, and aesthetic need, beauty, appreciating the need. What purpose? In order to understand the order or the balance in the society within himself, not art for art's sake. This art make you to view the order in the nature and the society and himself, and a balanced approach will be there. That's why he incorporated aesthetic need. These two are required for self-actualization. Then he added, in 1990s, he added transcendence as the one of the basic requirements. So cognitive we have discussed, aesthetic we have discussed. Transcendence is the spiritual, also need a spiritual need. It is placed after self-actualization. So here what happens? We move beyond ourselves. So we sacrifice some part and help others. So selfishness is not there in that. But while doing it, it should not, as an enlightened person, it should not impact your health and the relationship. So they are already fulfilled by the lower needs. That's why they are moving towards satisfaction in the higher needs, and the finally land in the spiritual needs. So what is this? What is the exception is where one moves downwards, regresses into the lower rung of the need hierarchy. He says that when one fall back onto the basic needs and the security, he says that a person who is always worrying about the basic need, not fulfilled, not being fulfilled, high poverty, our society support is not there, when these conditions are prevailing always in the 1 and 2 only, cannot move up. This is where our poverty and below poverty line concept comes here, where government has to interfere. So unless and until, this is also one of the political science also it is having. It is a guidance for the administration. Please remember, many people, even on the other day, Chandrababu Naidu often quotes this. I have not seen other politicians quoting it. Whatever with the implementation, but this is all highly taught in the public ad also. So major focus is here. Poverty is here. If you see, the government presently is providing, out of 140 crore people, government is providing the food for 80 crore people. When you are giving this one, where you expect the education for them at the higher level, this is where the recent study says that nearly 50 lakhs children dropped out of education. This is where our state is, our country is. Education is in the negative trend. This is latest report from Ministry of Education, central government. So this unless and until this is addressed, we cannot move upward. Country cannot, society, individual also cannot move upward. This is the importance here, not only organizational perspective, individual perspective, from public administration, government responsibility. This is very, 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 very important. Now coming back, about the psychopaths, those who are unrealistic in their thinking, they lack love in the childhood, according to him, because they have not received the love. They have lost love ability, then feel it, then they become heartless. Those people also cannot have stage 3, the level 3. What is level 3? Anybody? What is the need 3?
Belonging.
Belonging. Love is absent here. Next comes self-esteem. Now, for some people, they will ignore these two. Not much important. They will eat lightly, like they won't fulfill fully. They're more concentration on the self-esteem, recognition from others. They ignore family. They ignore children, but outward in the society, they want to get good name. This type of things will be there. This is what is there. So to explain the psychology, these needs are very, very useful. This is telling about some people, please remember, not about all people. So another one is, the exception is says that very creative people mostly ignore the all four and focus more on the self-actualization. When regression lower needs happen when there is a survival threat or survival threat is the job loss is there, he has to fall back unless and until he have resources. Then order of needs can be changed in period of catastrophic famines and natural disasters. So, what is the contribution? Inspired development of many therapies, influenced Carl Rogers' person-centric therapy, transpersonal therapy, existential psychotherapy, so many therapies and theories are also developed, highly used for individual development, social development, organizational development, national development. That's why highly studied topic is this one in every field. So there are three index. The scales are there. If possible, I will send. There is POI or essays. Mostly we do essays for where the need unfulfillment is there, where you got stuck. That unfulfillment affected the higher needs. This is highly used, and POI is also used. I will send it. Okay, research is there. A lot of research is there from these scales. It tells about that. We have another theory. We will stop here. Okay. It is about the person POI. We'll stop it. Any doubts, please?
Yeah, one question comes, sir,
Sir.
because self-actualization
Sir.
is the highest order. So, what percentage of the population generally are able to reach this fifth stage?
Mostly 2%.
2%.
2%.
I see.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.
Thank you,
We'll
sir.
close this one and then go for the next one. Let me stop this.
Sir, after fulfilling D needs, then only we go to B needs or
Generally, yeah. That's what even the how the self-actualization characters we have studied. Just I will go back. There, this basic need fulfillment is must, he says. Let me see. Is it visible or closed?
Visible, sir.
Okay.
Visible.
now
Got an
output
output.
is visible.
Okay, there it is. Somehow I could not get them. Okay, there you see that one point of a requirement of one of the requirement of fulfilling now. Yes. Now we will go for output. Please remember that it is a process, not an end state actually. Everywhere that actualization happens.
But it is not necessary.
Larger level in terms of plateau and peak level, it happens after cognitive need is fulfilled. Cognitive need and aesthetic need are these two happens in the later age. That's why it says that its highest fulfillment happens in the mid age. But you want to pass 10th class with 70% marks. That is also self-actualization in the 10th class. So you want to have good love with your mother, much attention from your mother. Then also it is part of self-actualization, right? This is what Rogers also talked about. He says when mother won't give unconditional love, it leads to distress, right? Okay.
But sir, self-actualization has to pass all the hierarchies, or it can happen.
Generally, that precondition he says, that's why I could not open it.
That's what. In first
That's
year,
there,
what?
yeah. Some requirement is there. Basically, without fulfillment, very difficult. That is one of the needs, requirements he had mentioned also.
But beyond the level 1, it can be any way it can happen in self-actualization. The hierarchy should not be there.
Self-actualization, every place, even need fulfillment is part of self-actualization. It is a process, not an end product of in the later ages after 60 years or retirement age. It is a process from the birth. It happens. Sometimes it happens unconsciously. As we grow, it happens consciously.
Consciously.
We will discuss in now.
Alpert.
Gardner's theory, he has discussed how it unconscious to conscious happened. Very good understand we will get with that. We will stop here and go further. Alpert. I think we stop it and open the PPT. Is it visible, sir?
Visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 minute. I'll add some water and come. Okay, now we'll see Gordon Allport. How many of you remember Gordon Allport, the definition of personality? Anybody?
Uh,
Where we heard this?
eight characteristics he mentioned, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which unit can anybody tell? We discussed a lot about this.
In the first unit, sir, Alpert's definition is personality is dynamic organization
Excellent. Good.
within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his characters, behaviors, and thoughts.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. So this is we have already discussed about this. Now we'll focus on the same. Gordon Allport, there is a small story. In the childhood, he is very shy, and students used to, friends used to tease him. That's why he used to live, stay isolated, away from the other friends. But he's a very hard worker. He is known for his words. He used to remember dictionary by dictionary. So your mother wanted him to become a religious person, but he did BS in philosophy and economy. And then he moved Turkey, worked in. Then one day he met Freud. Please remember, he is contemporary of Freud. And he, going in a train, saw a boy who is fearing about the dust. Maybe something like the phobia or something like the OCD. Then he thought of that boy and how come this boy behaving like this? Then he thought that it could be from his mother, inherited from the mother. And he met Freud and asked him the same question. Then Freud asked him, is it you or the boy whom you are talking about? Is it you? Then he felt that very bad. And when I asked a question, he is talking like this, and it is nonsense for him. So his theory of personality is not correct. So I have to investigate. This is how the study for the psychology has cropped up in his mind. Because I'm telling this story, you can remove the theory well if you know the some incidences or these childhood experiences.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you repeat, what actually happened? A boy was afraid of dirt, right, in the train,
Yeah. Here, yeah, that.
and he observed that, and he wanted to ask the why that boy was like that to Freud, right?
Yeah.
So instead of explaining the boy's condition, he asked this question to
The mother.
Alfred.
Alfred. Then he got aghast.
Oh,
Arey, how come he's attributing that to me? So
acha, acha.
that led to
So
the
that triggered him to enter into
research.
study of personality.
So he triggered, not only triggered, he stimulated him to an extent that he is well hell bent on to condemn every aspect of Freud.
Freud. Okay.
So highly revolutionary. You can see that in the theory we'll discuss.
Yes, sir.
Then Alport thought that personality development he has to study, and he has considered the genetics and upbringing, parental role, social role, cultural role, and after studying many people, uh, studying the biographies, videos, and pictures, stories, and the lexicon. He studied lexicon. Lexicon means dictionary. Lexical approach. He studied all the attributes or words one uses for a personality or a behavior. He and his friend collected 4 lakh words. Please remember, this incident pushed him to study 4 lakh words, collected all from the dictionary, and then redundant words are eliminated and arrived at 14,000 words, 13,900 odd, 14,000 words. Then again filtered and brought in 4,000 words. Ultimately, this theory laid foundation for development of 5-factor theory, Big Five theory, 16 PF, and then Penn model of ASIC, three factors, right? So these 4 lakh words using different techniques like factor analysis, modern psychologists brought out major 5 types of personality types. They are nothing but ocean, openness, OCEAN, conscientious,
Extroversion
extrovert,
and
what else?
neuroticism and
Agreeable,
Agreeableness,
agreeableness and neuroticism.
narcissism or something.
So 4 lakh words were brought into the 5 words. Even though they are a combination of different personality traits, but the foundation is laid by this great person. That's why it's called as father of trait theory. His definition of personality is considered to be more appropriate. There is no approved definition, but considered to be more appropriate. Okay. Now we'll see his approach, his understanding and nature of the personality, definition of personality, while understand what are the structures in that. There are certain traits which are relatively permanent, and then there are certain motivations for that behavior, and then there is a core self. This point, the 3 points, he tried to explain in the structure. There is a core self, there are motivations, there are definite, relatively permanent pattern of behaviors. So you see these 3 elements, you remember easily. Then comes how the functionality will be there, how these motivations function. They function autonomously. What autonomous? What from they want freedom? You want freedom from 2 things. One is from the past, as told by Freud, right? He wants not on the past, but he wants to be in the present and future. Then what way, from what they want freedom and freedom, another one is
Future.
unconscious part. So he slowly built a theory against the Freud's basic contents. Of course, here and there you may see some points.
Mhm.
But on the whole, he straight away attacked the forte of Freud. So then comes conscious, unconscious motivation. He agreed some unconscious motivation, but not given much importance, right? Very few explanations are there for that. Then the person psychologically matures will be healthy human being. This is what about the functionality. Three things we have discussed. Now you see human, the lexical approach. I already discussed about his friend's name is Robert. Both gathered from 4 lakhs to 17,953, and the jointly subjectives, non-physical characters, only mental characters, psychological characters are taken and which are observable. They have collected, they considered to be 4,500. Kettle made it 16. Ising made it 3, Penn, and Big 5, Castro and others made it 5. Now you see what are the other things he incorporated. He studied the documents, biographies, and diaries of the people, not only dictionary, but also he studied. And then what, suppose I write my biography, somebody reviews it, that also taken third person's material, and computer analysis in terms of searching the words in the dictionary and other things. So then the studied the values also from the objective perspective. Values he studied. He thought that there are certain values which are interested in the personal traits, including the theory, economics, aesthetics, social, political, and religious. Then he used around 11 different techniques. 4 of them. One is a lexicon we have studied, and then document study we have seen, value study we have seen, and then expression of the behavior. By observing the behavior of the people, he says that some are consciously exhibited, some are unconsciously exhibited. Then law is thought that our hand movement, eye movement, peculiar features, they all are mostly unconscious. Then we can understand the observing the audios, videos, pictures, facial expression, and body language of the people. Then he says that the appearance also plays role, which is part of body language. You can put everything as body language. Body language, values, and the different other documents and lexicon. Agree